27th, philosopher Sant Shree Dnyaneshwara and Sant Shree Tukaram Endowment Lecture Series and Orientation Program 2022.
Is inequality bad? The answer to this question is, see, if you have too much inequality, what do you think is the consequence of that? Basically, typically, I submit to you that it leads to social instability. जर समाजामध्ये जास्ती विषमता वाढत गेली तर त्याच्यामुळे अस्थिरता, स्थैर्य, एक प्रकारचं instability होते. There may be some anxiety, there may be issues of law and order, because if you have extreme inequality, I'm reminded a few years ago when we had to go to South Africa, in say the Cape Town or the capital Johannesburg, they used to say that after 5 o'clock, please go down, don't go alone outside the hotel. What is the reason? They said, no, you can get mugged, not murdered, but tumhala konitari, you can get mugged. Mugging, I hope you have heard this word. Mugging means not studying for exam. This mugging incidents happen in New York also. So, because of widening inequality, the risk of getting mugged or getting attacked by somebody who is poor is higher. Now, you can have only so many police in society. Everything cannot be controlled. So, the risk of such incidents increases with high inequality. The risk of law and order breakdown, the risk of extreme instability, the risk of anxiety, social anxiety increases. So what happens, people, as I was saying earlier in our conversation, that people will then protect themselves. You will have societies with guards. You cannot enter a housing society unless you have security. Sir, आपको मिलने आया है. क्या नाम है आपका? अच्छा, मोबाइल नंबर क्या है? These are all measures. There was a time, during the time of Marco Polo, he went around the world. There was no visa and passport. You could move around, but now you have so many controls. I'm not saying that's related to inequality, but inequality causes social instability. And what happens is, from an economic growth point of view, it will deter investors. Investors do not like to put new factories and new investments in areas which have very high inequality. Some parts of Africa have high inequality. Some parts of Latin America have high inequality. Not much investment goes there, because investors are worried that their property may not be protected. If there's too much tension, it could be, if there's too much unrest, there's insecurity, feeling of insecurity, anxiety and risk. So inequality is bad because of this consequence, too much inequality. So I told my submission to you is like, think of inequality like pollution. We are an industrial society. We have this podium, we have these chairs, we have electricity, lights. How do they come? The lights are here because of electricity. Electricity is here because we have to burn coal in power stations. Most of our power is electric power is produced by burning coal. When you burn coal, you have pollution. So we can't, as a modern society, we cannot live without pollution. But there is something called too much pollution. If you go to Delhi these days, the air quality index is very bad. So we are trying to do something to reduce it. So as a society, we say, oh, this pollution, it's too much. Air quality, water quality, we need to control that. So therefore, we introduce measures like effluent control, like pollution control, try to reduce pollution. We introduce penalties and taxes. We try to discourage the use of coal. We try to go for renewable energy. All these are policies to reduce pollution. So think of inequality like pollution. Okay? Inequality, too much inequality is like pollution. We cannot have zero inequality in society because we are all differently talented. Some people are going to get more income, some people are going to get less income. But when that gap widens, we have to think how much we have to control it, just like pollution. So think of inequality as pollution. So my answer to second question. First question is there inequality? Yes, there is inequality. I can give you a lot of data. Second, if you're traveling in a car in Mumbai, where I used to live, and if your car stops at a traffic signal, immediately some people come and knock on the window. Sir, that is another manifestation of inequality. So I don't have to, I hope I don't have to convince it. So first, there is inequality. Second, it is bad because it leads to adverse consequences like deterrence of investment goes down, social instability goes up. But I want to tell you that it is bad for another reason, and that's the connection with spirituality or with ethics or with morality. This is a domain about which economics is completely silent. Economic science or economic subject will not tell you why, the morality of it, because morals and ethics and just things like fair and unfair, itki inequality society, it's so unfair. We use this word, right? It's so unfair. Economics is silent about this. What is fair, what is unfair? This definition does not exist in economics. This comes from outside economics. This comes from the social sciences. This comes from our jurisprudence. This comes from morality. This comes from the spiritual literature. So I'm saying that inequality is bad not only because investment will go down. It's bad because fundamentally as human beings, we feel for other. Jeka ranzale ganzale tesi mane jo apule. Since we are remembering Santa Tukaram, so even the great saints have said that you have those who have fellow feeling for their fellow human beings. Vaishnava janate tene kahiye. Those who have empathy for people, janchi pida hai, those who are suffering. So inequality is bad because if people are below you and if you feel for them, then that causes hurt, that causes pain. So you have to reduce the pain. Now this is not an economic argument, okay? I made an economic argument saying that inequality is bad because investment kam hoga, फिर GDP kam hoga. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is beyond. So inequality is bad for the second reason. So I hope that is the end of that question. So first is there inequality? Second, is it bad? It's bad because of instrumental reason, which I mentioned to you, but it's also bad for moral reasons, which is beyond economics.